right, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't have snow shovels, that's your problem. I'm sorry about that. If you live in the Midwest, you should own a snow shovel and a snow blower.
And all of them.
Yeah, or both, like I do. So it's good to see you guys this morning. We're going to get rolling here. I have a couple of people to call in. A couple of them are out there shoveling snow right now. It's good to have that snow blower. I'm sorry. I feel for you. So we're going to get rolling here. Here's what I want to do. I've been thinking about how we do these introductions. Today is kind of a small group, but it's not really. I mean, we got 8 heads. That's a bunch. We need to start, and we'll talk about this in our admin session. We need to start thinking about how to do our introductions a little quicker, because when you get 15 or 16 heads, I'm spending 20 minutes on introductions. I want my time to go to the speakers. So we're going to start talking about that. So what I want to do is I would still want you guys to give me your introductions, but let's see if we can focus on trying to hang in there and see if we can be at that 1 minute. With that, I would like to start, and I am going to start today. Rhoda, if you would, please.
Good morning, everyone, from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Rhoda Israelov, and we, my team and I, say it for you, creating content that helps inform your visitors, your constituents, and your prospects about what you do, why you do it, and why you're better than anyone else in the world at doing it.
All right. Thank you, Rhoda. If you would, Adele, please.
Good morning, everyone. Adele Bush here, ASB Business Services, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. ASB Business Services transforms business-to-business phone calls into channels of service, new opportunities, and tools of innovation for our clients.
Thank you so much. Jerry Luco.
Hi, Jerry Luca with Franchise Business Source. So I help people that want to own a business but don't necessarily want to start from scratch, find a franchise business that they can own, grow, and love. I do the back-end research and really feel through what it is they want to do and their involvement levels and how much they want to spend, and hold their hand through the entire process so that they can have something that they can own, grow, and love.
Thank you, Jerry.
Business Source.
Thank you, and we missed the cat, so the cat doesn't get to speak.
I'm sure she'll be here later. I'm sure.
Okay. David Garrison, if you would, please.
Good morning. I'm Dave Garrison with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. I'm from near Indianapolis, Martinsville, Indiana, and I work with wealth advisors and their senior clients, utilizing housing equity to reduce risk, preserve assets, improve liquidity, increase cash flow.
Thank you, David. Alex, please.
Hi, my name is Alex Ray from the Indianapolis area, and I am an equity investor. Short enough, Keith?
Well, yeah, Alex is my guy.
I'm just here to lower that ratio.
Gloria, if you would, please.
Good morning, everybody. Gloria Thomas here from Columbus, Ohio. I'm with Secret Direct. We help you look and feel your best from head to toe, inside out, outside in, with skincare and nutrition for everybody. With Secret Direct.
I'll save you for last, Olivia. My name is Keith Rand. I own a company called First Quality Printing. I am officially semi-retired now. I moved into my house. I'm like Alex. I'm going to keep it short this morning because I want to make sure our speaker gets an opportunity. A couple of quick things. I mentioned earlier, if you're not getting my emails, I send them out on Monday. They are arriving via MailChimp. If you do not get that email on Tuesday or Wednesday, get a hold of me personally, and I will directly send you a link, but we're not going to be sending those giant headers anymore. So if you don't get it, just get a hold of me and I'll make sure. Jerry got a hold of me this morning. I checked first thing before I send them out, and it doesn't take me but a second to send it to you, but those giant headers are going away. So that's number one. And check your spam. Make sure you check your spam. That is probably going to be it. I want to make sure that we give our speakers time. So with that, unless somebody else has got any kind of general information, I am going to allow Miss France to come on. So with that, Olivia, if you would please, are you going to have a presentation, Olivia?
No, unfortunately, you're only going to see and hear me.
Okay, no, that's not unfortunate. If you would please, everyone will mute, and it is now the Olivia France show. And Olivia, we cannot see your face.
Oh, I think I know why.
Okay. There we go. All right, Olivia, thank you so much. You're in charge.
All right. Well, first of all, let me tell you how I got here. I am a new member to One Zone, and I have begun to meet some of the most wonderful people in this organization. One of those individuals is the name of Rhoda. And Rhoda and I got together and we struck up a conversation, and henceforth she just said, you need to share your story. Henceforth, I'm here today. So I'm going to tell you, I guess, how I got here. And I'm a product of AC and Oscar France, mother and father. I am the oldest of 6 in my family, 5 girls and 1 boy. I'm still the oldest. My mother passed away when I was in the 4th grade, and my father was working at Indiana Power and Light. And after mother passed, he didn't want to separate us because different members of the family wanted to take one, but he did not want to separate it. So we became the first Blacks to attend the Indiana Soldiers and Sailors Children's Home in Knightstown, Indiana. That's where I grew up. The name of the high school is Mort Memorial Tigers. And that is where I began my life. I have to say that I don't, had I not gone there, I often wonder what kind of individual I will be. Believe it or not, that is where I learned to play the violin, the viola, and the cello. That is also where I learned to dance, tap, jazz, and modern ballet. That is also where I learned to sing and had the opportunity to participate in many contests, particularly at Ball State University. So as my life began, being the tallest in my class it bothered me. It kind of made me feel, what was I going to look like after I grew up? I wasn't quite sure. But as time went on, I found this out by accident. I did not know it happened and cannot remember it to this day. But the children's home has a huge lake that separates girls and boys. And my sisters and I, we were all separated when we got there based upon your age. So we were all alone in the cottages. And I have to tell you, at that time, we were welcomed with open arms. The children's home knew no color, and they were so anxious to share and to give and to help. We had our own hospital, our own school, our own farm, administration, our own sewing room, boot shop or shoe shop. So everything that we as children needed was there. All we needed to do was take advantage of it. Well, one day I came home from, was a freshman in high school, and I was told that I was in the attic at my particular dormitory. They sent my sister up to pull me out, and so she tells me I threw her down the stairs. I don't remember that. So apparently they could not get me down. And later on, I was brought down in a straitjacket. Then I was hauled off to Indianapolis, Indiana, to LaRue Carter. And apparently I had a nervous breakdown. And I thought to be so young to have a nervous breakdown just didn't make sense. But I did. And so the treatments they gave me allowed me to forget a part of my life. And maybe that's not a bad thing, because when I look at myself today, I'm still happy with who I am and what I've done and where I plan to go. So once I was released, of course, it set me back a year in high school. I was there for a year, and my sister and I graduated together, and we tied for class award. So to me, that was the first sign of success and remaining steadfast. Now, graduation. When we graduated, of course, we went home to live with our father. And keep in mind, we had an opportunity to visit him 2 weeks during the summer and 1 week at Christmas as we were growing up. The children's home did allow that because we still had a father. Some of the children there did not have parents or parents that did not want them. So we were blessed in that respect. Now I'm getting ready to start my future. And I decided that I was going to go to business college. And I don't know if all of you remember, but there was a Sears and Roebuck, I believe it was on Alabama downtown. Well, that was where my first job was, in the candy department. And I thought that working in the kitchen upstairs, serving the people that worked there, was a promotion. But that paid my way through business college. I did not want my father to do it. Once I had graduated, Indianapolis was not a place that I felt that I could grow. I didn't want to be a secretary all my life. I didn't want to just, I didn't even want to work for the city. I just didn't think it was enough for me based on everything that I have learned how to do and who I have become. So I had an opportunity to go to California. So I took advantage of it. And lo and behold, when I got there, the people that I have been communicating with told me that I could get a job at Northrop Aircraft. And that sounded exciting. Scared of planes, but it sounded exciting. So when I went over to Northrop Aircraft to be interviewed, there were 8 people at a table. All 8 of them asked questions, all kind of questions. They were shooting them at me. So I had to wait 2 weeks, but in 2 weeks, I got the job. And I'm here to tell you that I have done things in aerospace that I never thought that I could do. I have sat in an F-18 cockpit. I have a jacket from a pilot. I have sat in the Harrier helicopter, which is one of my favorites because it just goes up and out. I have worked on military programs supporting F-18, 16, 17s, 22s. I even worked on the B-2. I've worked on commercial programs, going all the way back to the 737, 47, 67, 777, and on. I've had an opportunity to do those. Special programs on fasteners, which were always delinquent on our assembly lines. Now, when I say that I had all these opportunities, I was going to air shows. I started out in purchasing. So I had an opportunity to manage the standard hardware department, the raw material department, and purchase parts. All of those departments allowed me to get an idea of how the planes are put together, what part of the fuselage we built, and then it was shipped to another site in another state to be completed. I had an opportunity to put together just-in-time programs for fasteners that were always delinquent. Henceforth, that is where a lot of my plaques came from, because we as a team on a weekly basis met to discuss our ship sets or the part of the fuselage we had to finish. Everything was schedule driven, everything. The buying of the parts, the moving of the parts, the finishing of the parts. But I was in a position where I had an opportunity to not just deal with the people in my purchasing department, I had a chance to spend time with manufacturing engineers. I had a chance to spend time with suppliers who actually build some of this, the hardware, and or who get the raw material and form it so that we can put it on our section of the fuselage. Windows were handled by a certain department. Wings were handled by another department. But everybody had a piece of that plane, depending on the plane we were working on. Because sometimes there were always special projects. So the greatest thing that I had a chance to do was to actually fly a plane. Scared to death, but I did it. And it wasn't bad. I was surprised myself. But giving it back to the pilot, he had an opportunity to allow me to experience when the engine goes off in the air and the plane begins to fall. And then he turns it back on and he takes it right back up. So you'll have to try that one day. Kind of like to know how you feel. It was my first. Now, moving forward, I moved all the way up in the aircraft division as far as I could go. I think the ultimate was when I became the first Black to become the president of the Northrop Grumman Management Association. And to me, that was the highlight of my working life. So my dad was proud, my siblings were proud. I couldn't believe it, but me, the president of the Management Association for this company. Now, I was also later on put on the committee to merge 3 aerospace companies. One was Northrop Aircraft, one was Grumman, which was in New York, and the third was LTV. All 3 of those companies became Northrop Grumman. So henceforth, that's where Northrop Grumman was formed. I finally reached a point where I found out that I could retire. And I retired at 55. And I decided that I didn't want to manage anybody anymore. I didn't want to go to meetings anymore. So I told them, I said, for the time that I have left, give me a cubicle. I'll come in and do whatever you want. Well, oddly enough, one of the manufacturing engineers asked me to be assigned to his department. So I had the opportunity to work with manufacturing engineering in trying to develop new things for the planes. You know, graphite is light, and there were things that they wanted to change to make the planes lighter, you know. So I would coordinate with certain suppliers to see if they could help manufacturing achieve what they were trying to achieve in altering some of the planes. So that, it almost changed my mind and made me stay, but I decided to leave. When I left, my family had asked me to come back to Indiana because when I left and went to work for Northrop, I hadn't seen Indiana in a long time, only to visit my father's. So I am so proud of Indiana. You guys have done a great job in making things better, but I left because it wasn't good enough for me to stay. I just didn't think that the challenges were there that I needed. So I had to go find challenges. And when I came back, one of the companies by the name of Johnson Service Group, it was a staffing agency, asked me if I would help them start a staffing agency. The gentleman was Haitian, and he was a smart guy. I did. I was a vice president. His friend was a vice president, and he was the president. And I tell you, the name of the company was Omni Group North America, if you've ever heard of it. We had everything that UPS could throw at us. We had Kentucky, which is right next to Indiana, all sold up. We were all over the United States. We had so many people working for UPS that they began to ask us to put one of our employees at the site to manage all of our people. And being the kind of person that I am, I needed to know what specifically they wanted them to do. So I took the job first. That job, I used to drive from Indiana to uh, Hebron and or Louisville. And I would spend the week there working and then come home on a Friday, go back on Monday. So my dogs kind of lost track of me doing that. But after 3 months, I got an idea of what they wanted. So I started looking for the individual. I found her. They loved her. She stayed until one day the owner decided that he was going to just take all the money that we were making and he took off. He disappeared. Lo and behold, our clients thought that myself and the other vice president were the ones that took the money. And I said to myself, if you haven't done anything wrong, why would you even worry? I let it go. Well, they found him. Henceforth, I don't know what happened. And to be honest with you, I really didn't care. So one of our employees called me and said, Miss France, why don't you do you and stop helping everybody else? So I prayed on it. Henceforth, Supreme Staffing Solutions, LLC. And I named the company Supreme is because when I started praying on it, it's like God said, go ahead, I got your back. Go ahead, go ahead. So I did. The day that the city came out to certify me, it was Ron Franklin. And he came to my home and he sat in my home and he began to tell me he thought I could teach a class on everything that I talked to him about. I didn't think so. I'm not the kind of people that accepts compliments. I think everybody else should give them. I can give them, but I have difficulty accepting them. So that's something you know about me that I don't share with everybody. But anyway, when he left, I got an email from him telling me all the people that I needed to talk to. And I did that. One of those people was a company by the name of J. Beard Management. They were working on getting a contract with the city for this huge project. Some of you've probably heard of it, the Community Justice Center. And that's being built in the Twin Air community. Little did I know that Olivia would be asked to work on that project. That project is a little over $300 million. They're building the new courthouse, which means that the courthouse is downtown. I don't know what's going to happen to it, but a lot of people are probably going to move to Twin Air or closer. They're also building a sheriff's station there. And they're building an assessment center because I'm sure you've heard the news talk about not everybody that is arrested needs to go to jail. Some people have mental problems. And so the assessment center opened on December the 1st. So I've already had people call me and ask me, how do you go about working there? I'm responsible for workforce development and recruitment on that project. So I've had an opportunity to deal with something like 30 construction contractors in terms of hiring. I've got about 13 reentry programs. And believe it or not, some of those candidates have received jobs. There are two gentlemen specifically. One wanted to work in electricians. And one of the companies decided to send him to apprentice training. And after he finishes, they're going to hire him. I had another guy they picked up and they actually started him out at $32 an hour. So henceforth, that's what I have been doing. I've been not just all reentry, neighborhood centers, people who have heard about me. I've had, I don't know how many job fairs. I've even had one at Light of the World up on Michigan and 38th Street, which turned out to be a great success. So my time, I've been on the project since July of 2018, and I'm supposed to finish this year in August. But right now I'm being asked to work on a couple of more projects, which means that maybe I'll have time now to bring some people in to work with me and begin to grow my company. So the day I was asked to join One Zone Chamber, that to me was another highlight in my life of achieving some of the things that I never thought that I would achieve. So here I am. I've always wanted children, but since I couldn't have kids, that's why I have dogs. And the dogs are my children. I have enjoyed my work. And I just feel that my father would be proud if he were alive to see me today, because he was so worried about who we would become. And he always made it a point to say that I would have girls with nothing but babies. But that didn't turn out to be true. But I think he would have been proud of his oldest turning out as she did. So, Rhoda, I hope that you enjoyed that little story, and thank you all for listening.
Hey, wow, this every once in a while, this is why I like CBN. We can always talk about business, but business is always people. It's always people. Strange 6 degrees. Your guy, Ron Franklin, is my classmate.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh,
matter of fact, we talk about every other month.
He's my heart. He is my heart. That man, even to this day, every now and then I call him just so we can get together and go to lunch.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yes.
Interesting story. Hey, couple of quick questions, then I'm going to open the floor. Number one, I want to say to you, thank you for being so open about your mental health situation. Too many Americans avoid that, don't get treatment, don't seek treatment, and then their lives go sideways. I think we had a mental health person at one of our CBN situations. I don't know. I don't remember, Rhoda, but it's a while back. 1 out of 6 Americans need some form of mental health support. That's a lot of people. So,
yeah.
Appreciate that. Couple of things. Now, how much staff do you have that support you? One, just you're doing it. Okay.
Me. And because it's just the one project now, but it's now that this project is about over, I've got people asking me, I need help with this. Would you help me with this? So it's going to allow me to begin to add some staff.
I think I have one more question, but I want some other people. First off, I want to acknowledge, hey, Dow, you joined us late, but I did want to say good morning. Obviously, you got my communication, so I'll let you do a little intro at the end of this if you don't mind. But for right now, let's go ahead and make sure that it's the Olivia France show. Anybody else got any questions for Olivia?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jared.
Olivia, I'm really curious about your siblings. Like what are they doing? Are you in touch with them and stuff like that?
Yes, I am. We are all the time, all 6 of us. 3 of us are here in Indiana and 3 are in San Francisco. Okay. And although my dad was trying to, my dad had a cement business and he wanted to turn it over to my brother. But my brother was one of those kind of guys that's too hot to trot. And so he waited until he got in his 60s and tried to start, well, he's still working on, tried to start up his cement business. So he said, sis, you tried to talk to me earlier, but I understand now. So I want to do what you're doing. So I just tell him you waited a little late, but at least you got started. And I have a sister in nursing. I have a sister who is in retail, and then I have a sister who is now working for IU University.
Anyone else? Rhoda.
I want to hear more about the project. The building, where it is, what's going to happen, what's happening there with the project.
You mean the Community Justice Center?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You guys will have to drive by and see. It's in the Twin Air. It's on, I think that's Southeastern and Sherman. But we leased a building right next to the project, or the project is behind now. And everything is enclosed. As I said before, the assessment center is already open, and the director there, I think her name is Becky, the director is already trying to get things together for it to begin to hire and bring people in. The sheriff's station is there, and the courthouse. They're now building all of these rooms for the courthouse, as you would see downtown, but it's going to be a little bit better than that. But it is in the Twin Air Norwood community, off of, it actually sits southeastern If you go all the way down Southeastern towards Rural, you'll be able to see it on the left-hand side. It's been, I have to tell you, it's been wonderful watching it grow. The courthouse, the building is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. So if you guys get a chance, drive over there and take a look at it. We've done a lot of pre-construction on it, which is what we did most of in July. And then I actually physically started working there in November of 2019. We were going to get a trailer and set it there so people could come up to us and ask for jobs there. But when COVID hit, we weren't going to have the public come in. So that changed things quite a bit. But you can drive by and take a look at it. It's about 60 to 70% complete. They're doing most of the work inside now, but to actually work on something like that, build it, and be a part of the neighborhood which it is being built in, and all of the organizations that look to that, because the city had a hiring initiative associated with this, and that's what I was responsible for. But I'm still having people coming to me on our Facebook account that was developed specifically for this. We also have my email is used for this, as well as we do have a website too that we've been sharing. So if there's anything else that I even have some pictures that I could send you. We have pictures on the also on the Facebook account. If you go to our hashtag is Community Justice Partners 20, and then you can look at all of the new pictures that are there because I put them up every month.
Do you think they're going to close the courthouse building downtown?
I don't know if they're going to tear it all down or use it for something else, but the courthouse now is going to be used from the Twin Air community. I have some literature on that I can share with you, so I will be happy to send that to you as well.
There used to be a building, and this is many, many years back when we were fairly new to Indianapolis. It was on 25th and Keystone. It was some kind of a police building. Do you remember that? Or is that still?
That's a juvenile detention center.
Is that still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So for those of you who are from out of the city of Indianapolis, our jail was located downtown. It's a very small jail. And one of the reasons that we redeveloped or we moved to redevelop our jail was litigation. So our jail was didn't pass certain inspections, and some litigation came about along with some funding. So we're now developing a massive jail and legal complex in the areas that Ms. France is talking about. It is going to be a significant piece of construction in that area. It has provided a tremendous number of short-term jobs in the construction area, but they're significant. Rhoda asks about what they're going to do downtown. I have some friends of mine who are politicians. They want to sell the building, Rhoda. They want to sell it. But politics is everything. That real estate, it's the area, like any downtown area, is kind of not appropriate for traffic, parking, et cetera, et cetera. But politically, it's probably not going to happen. So that's just the way it is. Hey, anybody else got any questions for Ms. France? Hey, I had two quick questions. You talked about this reentry. I know, David, you still do your prison stuff. So how are you guys focusing on reentry, or that just happened to fall off the table there, Olivia?
Well, it kind of fell in my lap. Once a month. Just a second,
let me stop. So does everybody know when I say reentry, I don't want to make when we say reentry, we're talking about those who have moved from the criminal justice system, either prison or incarceration, back into mainstream society. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about those words. Go ahead, Olivia.
Let's see here. About maybe it's latter part of last year, I received a request through the city that some of the city county councilmen wanted me to reach out to the reentry programs. I received an email that had about 13 or 14 on them. And I made it a point to meet, discuss, and visit all of them, or at least contact them, and I did. So it just so happens that when they all found out what I was doing in my name, they all wanted to just jump on and see if we could help them. Surprisingly enough, we've had a number of those re-entering society have been given jobs. And I think that's a good thing. So we have a mixture of those that just need work. We have a mixture of those that are returning to society. So I think that's good. I think that's healthy. And I share those statistics with the city every month formally. And I have a meeting with them physically. We actually sit down and talk so they can take all this information back. Because I have to tell you, made it a point to meet with the Ministers Alliance, but there's been some controversy about the project not allowing minority contractors to work, not hiring any minorities. But I'm putting together a video, and this video is going to show some of the guys that have been hired. I've met them on both sides. So I want them to talk. We're not talking about the past. We're going to talk about the future. They're going to be asked about 3 or 4 simple questions. The last one, of course, being, what would you like to say to the people out there? I want them to feel, because a lot of them are so happy now. It makes me feel good. I feel like I've done the city and the state some good. So that's the purpose of the video. Along with that video will be a narrative. And the purpose of it is just in case someone says we did not, we can show them that we did. That's, they didn't ask me for that, but I thought putting that together will squash all of the negativity.
Yeah, that's just for some of you who have not been involved with MBE and WBE programs, this is a little inside baseball. One of the issues that comes up in these MBE and WBE programs, minority business enterprise, women business enterprise, is that there's one side that says they shouldn't exist. There's another side that says, and even the recipients say it's never enough. And this is always an internal struggle. I've been involved in these programs for over 30 years, been a major contractor with the state of Indiana, city of Indianapolis, ran the city of Indianapolis printing operation, on that contract for 11 years. And you always have these issues that come up when it involves women and minorities in terms of allocations. The state of Indiana, by the by, does not do mandatory allocations. They have targets. The city of Indianapolis has directives in terms of participation. They don't have mandates. They do have directives. So this is a little, what she's talking about is a little inside baseball. From the minority community, you always get this, like, there's never enough. You're not letting enough people work. And from the majority community, it's like, we're doing the best we can. So it's kind of interesting, Olivia, that you kind of picked up on that point, and you're trying to prevent the attack from both ends, because I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. And like I said, it's kind of an inside baseball kind of thing, and you don't have to think about it. It's something you and I talk about offline.
Yeah, and typically now there are a percentage goals. I think the total is 27%, but it's 15% this, 2% this, 8% women-owned business. They do apply those, and typically when a contractor bids on it, he wants to exceed those goals.
Yes.
Some make it and some don't. But then again, you have that middle stuff that goes on that we can talk about. Okay.
It's kind of an interesting thing. Hey, I want to get back to your life story. Oh, wow. Like you say, I having grown up with both parents, whether they were perfect or imperfect, you got the folks you have. I think it's kind of fascinating to me. I do have a friend who was adopted and came up through the adoption system. was adopted as a teenager, as a matter of fact, which is very, very unusual. An African-American child getting adopted as a teenager is rare as hen's teeth, but did do that. So tell me impactfully what you think that process of being separated from what we would typically call a normal or standard family. How do you think that influenced and affected how you made decisions?
Well, let me answer that this way. We met a number of students in the children's home who some were a lot worse off than we were. And now to me, losing my mother at an early age, it was devastating because I was the oldest. It didn't affect the others as much as it did me. And believe it or not, to this day, I still look for an older woman who can still be play mother. But there were so many children there that had different things happen to him. And to hear some of them talk about the life they had to live with their own parents and going to another place was good. And so being in that home, I can't tell you the closeness that we have. As a matter of fact, once in a while, there's about 6 of us, that grew up together, that still get together and meet. Last year, no, it was the year before last, 2 years ago, we made it a point to go visit the Colts, the stadium, and we visit the Colts locker room. I have a picture of me in the showers and standing there where they put all of their clothes.
With your clothes on.
Oh yeah, there was nobody there but us, but we had fun with that. So I'm saying that a lot of times the children actually, we all come together, and it's nice to know that to this day, there was the Robinson family. When you arrive at the home, you stay in the hospital for about a week, and that's just to make sure you're okay. They like to check you out, but you have fun in the hospital. It's not a hospital like this hospital, but it's a hospital. And we met them. So we are still the best of friends, their family and our family. Now, they had problems with their family. Everybody went different ways, but henceforth, they've all come back together now. They've grown up. So the home it helps you, it helps kids mentally. I mean, had I been outside of the home and had to go to the mental hospital, I don't think my father could have dealt with that the way those people dealt with it, And growing up, I used to feel like it was a bad thing to talk about. But today, I could care less. I mean, I'm just looking at who I am. So it doesn't bother me. It's like I say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Wow. That's that's kind of a pretty good testament there for how you move through life. And the whole thing is we all got our own story. We run businesses. Yeah. And I always tell people, don't talk about your crazy family unless you want to hear about mine. Right. Yeah.
One more thing I need to tell you. After being released and coming out here to live and even coming home to visit my father, it was difficult because my own race did not accept me. It was hard for me to get a date because a Black man would look at me and say, "Oh, you're high maintenance." And I said, "Because I'm clean and I have nice clothes on." So I just, dating was not an option, but it allowed me to focus. And, going back to the home, they saw no color. So, here I am, over here it's good, but over here it's not that good. They made fun of us. I said, because I'm educated, but so those are some of the things that we had to go through. And pretty much when I got out of the home, my life was only filled with whites, but they were always open arms, I still look at what I'm doing today. So I have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah. Once again, for those of you who are not aware, this is, again, this is an inside baseball look. In the African American community, there is a division, and mostly it's along class, money, and skin tone. We have a thing called colorism. We have a thing with speech patterns. Some children will be challenged because they talk like white people. I don't know what you do about it. You are part of the culture that you are reared in. If you send your child to Caesar, do not be surprised that they come back as Romans. That's pretty classic. And so if you are raised in an environment that has certain situations, you will look like that environment. No matter what you look like, you will become that environment. And this is a challenge. This is a challenge for in many cases, people of color. You learn the values of based on the people that are around you. You will value that which you learn that is around you. And this is, once again, this is inside, but this is why I like CBN. We can have a rational discussion about things that are very, very personal, unique, but affect all of us. Olivia is giving you literally an inside look of not only race and race relations, but intra-race and race relations. Believe you me, it's not only white people that discriminate against Black people sometimes. Sometimes it's Black people. Just like in the wider community. I'm going to take just a minute and then close this thing out. Thank you so much, Olivia. When I went to the military, I was born and reared in the Midwest. I had never heard of a WAP. I'm from, and if you don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you. So I'm in the military, and these two Italian guys are teasing each other. And they're slinging names and language. I'm an African American from the middle of the United States. I had no idea what a WAP was. Well, I found out. I had no idea what a SPIC was. I did not know these things because my culture, we broke people into two pieces. You were either white or you Black, and we slid Jewish people in a little segment of the guys who own the grocery stores. But that's the truth. And so anything else I didn't know. So as I was listening to Olivia, I thought to myself, man, I remember these days. So, it's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your presentation. Rhoda, please.
Before we leave, I do want to hear David's comments because of all the rest of us. I think he has the most current experience with incarceration.
Yes, if you would, David.
I'd like to hear what
talk about your prison ministry.
I'm part of a ministry called Kairos Prison Ministries, and we are in virtually every male and female state institution in Indiana, and it's a worldwide organization. Basically, we go in there and put a 4-day weekend on, a faith-based weekend that we target actually gang leaders, and the idea is to create Christian community in the prison, and we come back and facilitate sharing groups and on a weekly and on a monthly basis. And there's actually, in a prison, I work out of Plainfield, in a prison of 1,500 people, there's an awful lot of movement in and out of a prison, but there's probably on average maybe 100 guys that have been through the program. And one of the intents is, on average, most of these guys are going to get out. And we're not really a reentry ministry, although we support reentry ministries, but they're going to get out, and they may be your neighbor. And so the idea is that we've created an identity that they can hold on to when they get out and point them in the direction where they can succeed and not have a reentry into prison experience. So It's a very rewarding. You see an awful lot of pain, grief, addiction. You really can't imagine the negativity that goes on in a prison. It just isn't part of our experience. In the end, they're all children of God, just like we are, and may have made and did make some mistakes, and by and large, most belong there, but they're by and large going to get out, and so we're there to support that initial experience and then help point them in the right direction for when they do get out.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Hey, Dow, if you can hear us, if you would just give us about a minute intro, please.
Sure. So sorry I was late. I got a client called right as I was about ready to get on the Zoom call and needed to take this call. And I see several of my friends here. My name is Dow Tippett, and I am an executive coach and a speaker and author who helps leaders empower their potential by transforming their relationships. And so I help teams and organizations grow together, especially the leaders. And I get the joy of sharing with you guys here in about a month about how your relationships at home affect your work life. And I am very excited about doing that, but I wanted to take some time to be with you guys before and after that as the opportunity arises for me. Thursdays are tough, but as the opportunity arises, I want to be with you guys. So that's why I'm here. That's who I am.
Thank you, Dow. No problem at all. Thank you. Hey, we're about to wrap this up. I want to go back to, and Olivia, thank you so much for sharing. You guys had a little bit of inside baseball here in terms of, personal, that mental health thing is not a minor thing, and that needs to be addressed. A little bit about race relation inside and outside the Beltway here. The project that she's running, for those of you who are not in Indianapolis, this is a giant project. It's huge. I think you said 365. The estimate is it'll get to $500 million. It's going to have cost overruns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to have cost overruns. And they're anticipating $500 million on this thing. So that's a significant impact on any organization or city to have a $500 million worth of economic activity. It will change at some point the landscape of downtown Indianapolis as we make the decision on what we do with our existing prison, which is inadequate. With that being said, two quick things. Next week, our speaker is Craig P. Anderson. And reminder, make sure you check your spam. I'm going to be sending out our notices again. If you don't get it, just make sure you let me know that Tuesday or Wednesday. I want to congratulate our bookers again. We are booked up until May 20th, 2021. Wow. Adele and Rhoda, thank you guys. You guys are my number one bookers here. The rest of us, we're sleeping on the job, but that's okay. We're getting it done. But I do appreciate you guys. With that, once again, thank you, Olivia. I will see all you guys next week. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.